Day 3 in Val Di Sole, the Valley of the Sun, which hasn't quite delivered on its famous name. But what it has delivered is a weekend of quality racing. We turn our attention now to the cross-country Olympic, where halfway into the season and with just 6 weeks to go until the Olympics, those who missed out on a place in Paris have all the more reason to fight for a World Cup title, while those selected will be using this race to finesse their winning form.
Following on from yesterday's short track, today's XCO, 3.5 kilometres long, almost a course of 2 halves. We have the big Val Di Sole Trentino climb, and then that leads us into the woods section, the Red Bull rock and rolls, the steepness, the hardest sections happen in those woods. We then drop out over the Route 4 cross, down into the grass section. And normally you can get a bit of respite, but the current rain has just made this grass sections more sapping, and the big start-finish straight, where we saw the sprint finishes in the XCC, is going to be a key section. And here we go, start line for the XCC women's race, XCO women's race. 4th round of Val Di Sole, and they're off. And it's interesting to see who gets the whole shot. Sciocchi on the inside.
Yeah, have a look at that first corner. That's very slippery outside. Inside it's dry, but outside, and here already a crash. Yeah, that's what we could expect here. It's so slippery outside, this mud, and it's slippery.
Yeah, we saw in the U23 women's race
involved of that, but also Lotte Koopmans from the Netherlands was involved.
Alessandra Keller just moving up on the outside, and as we enter the woods here, it's Chiara Sciocchi from Keller.
Yeah, the riders, they know as well, they have to be in a good position over here, because otherwise they lost immediately a lot of time. And there's Sevilla Blunk, she tries to get inside corner, which is a very steep part.
Juana Lecomte's moving up through as well, into the top 10. Previously, on that steep climb, you had to cut in and cut back on itself, and it was all bummed out with all deep dust. This year, I think they've made it a little bit easier, a bit smoother.
A little bit easier, it's true. And then they're coming down on that 4-cross course. A little bit time for the riders to relax.
Here it's about the 2 big climbs, more grass, and the traction on here, that looks super difficult.
I'm wondering if the riders can make it on the bike. Keller doesn't. Not able. For Pepitza it is.
No, can't. Now
she might be on different tyres, maybe mud tyres, especially here. This climb, it's very slippery.
You know, we missed it. We were looking at the start, but that backside, it's a long climb after that mud section, then a fast, like kind of almost false flat before we drop in now.
And also that false flat section, it's very red and muddy.
And then backing that up with 4th in the XCC as well. Got her place booked in Paris. We see Lecomte just getting distance now as you come up into the woods. Don't know whether that's physical or whether it's just a bit of tactics to give herself a bit of space. Yeah, like you see them now coming up this section. This is slippery. We've got the roots, the rocks, and they have to sit in the saddle, maintain, like you say, that traction on the wheel, keep some body weight back. It's really difficult. We see the main section, the biggest, I think the hardest section in the woods, that steep section before we go into the multi-route line.
Ooh. No, it's not Paula Goritska, it's Caroline Beuyen.
Pauline, as soon as she gets back, she gets that, once she gets that, like you said, she gets that traction again. Once she gets the traction, it's big gear, out the saddle, rolling it, using the power, then straight back down, spins again. She flips between those 2 styles.
Yeah, high heart rate, exhausted.
Yeah, it's not just being able to ride the sections in practice, it's being able to do it when you're at race intensity. It's so technical. You know, all the blood is in your legs, not in your arms.
Candice Lille with Luane Lecomte, the numbers 3 and 4 in the race. Candice Lille now in front of Luane, here in the descent. The chasing group, those together, you see.
But we heard from Candice Lille an amazing kind of little interview as we were in the warm-up, and just saying how she's 31 years old, and she's been fighting for this for years and years with the support of, you know, a small team, her husband as well. You know, they're washing the bikes, they haven't got big factory support, but a big breakthrough this year. Oof. So here's Evie Richards.
A similar mistake as Anne Tauber had, and she crashed down!
In the feed station zone.
That's a nasty crash on that straight over there. Lost her Garmin or something on her bike.
And Evie Richards coming back from a bad crash in.
Oh yes, snapping her brake level down again.
It's a nasty crash to happen. And thankfully on the grass, not on tarmac, but there's something in that feed zone, Bart, where a big, whether it's a hole or a bump or a bad rut.
To mountain biking.
Yeah, the big difference, I think, when you do too much time on the road bike, you become a bit tight on the bike. You know, you're not. It's the wheels, just that little bit. There's two parts of technicality: the technicality of the big jumps and routes, the kind of four-cross stuff, and then there's the little subtle technical bits, which is where we see now the wheels slipping, and you just change your line, adjust the tension on the pedals.
Working hard with your upper body as well. It's not only the legs, but also the position on the bike. Yeah, the grip on your rear wheel, the grip on your front wheel as well. When it comes up on these steep climbs, you have to mention it and moving it in the right direction. We see that again. These people not knowing that the leader is coming again, and you shaking her head. What's going on over there?
And obviously in that tech zone, they can take water from one side and then spare wheels from the other. That's the generally thing. If you have a flat tire, you can get there and swap out for a wheel. You don't have to fix it yourself. But it can be a pretty stressful area if you've got a group of riders coming in at one time, or if there's any issues with the surface. You know, so like we saw.
Yeah, it's more difficult. There you have to be in the first position.
Yeah, you see there's almost two lines, but both of them are hard to ride, and you definitely don't want to be on the wheel of somebody. And we see Keller going on the right, then Mittelvarner crossing over.
Yeah, Tauber here, different line with a strong one.
Yeah.
Good one.
And it's difficult, you just roll in, you carry only a small amount of speed, and then it hits this long climb, fully in the sun, up to the second tech feed zone, and it's a tough climb, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds long, and it's super steep. And grabs the gel as well.
The leader in the overall standing, Haley Batten, try to find her gel for the last two laps. Then we have Anna Tauber from the Netherlands.
Yeah, best race so far this season for the Dutch All-Bayer factory team. Bravo drops down here. This is one of the most harder technical sections. Big rocks, big roots. As we drop down now as well, just coming to the left, kind of not quite on the view from here, but super rooty, super technical, really hard to keep traction. It's then off camber into a really big root section, and then we start climbing again. It's so physical.
Yeah, she's taking the outside line. It's a bit longer, but she's keep on her speed. And she has a little bit of a gap. I mean, a little bit. It's 40 seconds. So there's time for her to ride her own race, own lines.
Puck Peterson now 185, 188 on the heart rate, working hard. And again, this is where we talked about it before, but there's riding this section in practice. That's one thing. But it's riding these technical climbs when you've come into them with your heart rate so high, the fatigue is building. We're on like 5 or 6. We've just gone past an hour in the race. It's so difficult to hit that line lap after lap. It's like the last lap. Provon, dominant second lap. She got the gap, the pressure being on. And so far I've only seen her make one mistake on a small climb, just clipping out. The rest of it has been so smooth.
Don't have to push and don't have to take too many risks in the descent.
The 34 seconds, I think that's it. It's going to be a crash really, and that's what she needs to be aware of now. She needs to it's about focusing, concentration on those techie sections. You know, if you have a bad off, 34 seconds is easy to close.
Yeah, the gap has been there most of the time, constantly like that.
Batten, Risveds, Keller, 8th, 9th, 10th. Batten, be interested to see whether this result sitting here, maybe this will be enough to keep her overall chances alive.
Tauber now on 11th place.
Again, this gap, the pace back to 3 minutes now. Back to Risveds coming through from a poor start due to a bad gridding after the XCC. Keller working hard, triple style, kind of all rolling over the bike. Batten, our overall leader at the moment, which is dropping down into the feed zone. We saw yesterday losing a sprint to Puck Petersen here, but no sprint finish today. There you go, high five with the mechanic.
Yeah,
again,
the team behind her.
No stress today, and it's going to be, again, another win. Second win of the season for our world champion, Pauline Provon. Dominant performance, breaking away on the second lap of 6, getting the gap and making it look relatively easy. And it's the win in Val Di Sole, Trentino, for our French world champion, Pauline Provon. What a performance, Bob.
Perfect race for her, yeah.
Puck Petersen as well, really good, solid race, an improvement from Nova Mesto. With Alpecin de Koenig, European champion, holding off Candice Lill. A solid race again as she marches on towards that big appointment in Paris later in the season. Second pace for Puck Pietersal, Jacinta Koenig. It's all about the games, but what a ride. This was the result for the day. We heard from her before for Candice Lill. Her goal forever was to make the podium, and she's done it today in Val Di Sole. Candice Lill, third place for the privateer from the South Africa. Off to the games now, and actually putting herself now as not just going to the games, but as a medal potential. Another woman that's going to be happy with her performance today. Great comeback. Luan Lecomte struggling the first half of the season, but coming back here for a fourth place. You can see the smile on her face for the Canyon Collective rider. And fifth place, last step on the podium. And again, big smiles. The Sevilla Blanc Decathlon Ford Racing Team. And here we go, big sprint. Rizved's in 8th, Batten 5th, but it's Rizved's takes 8th place. Our overall leader, Batten, can she come round her? Oh, it's going to go to the line. This is tight, it's going to be a photo finish. I think it's Batten who just takes 8th position from Rizved's.
Yeah, it was not an easy one. Yeah, I felt I did 3 big days of training. So today I felt a bit tired, but I could manage to take the front and to stay in the lead. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
And our winner today, second race of the year, second win of the year. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, world champion, breaking away on the second lap. So strong on the climbs today. Said in an interview that she'd had a hard training week and didn't know quite how she'd be, but that's a dominant performance if you've got some fatigue in your legs. Taking the win today, over a minute clear, or nearly a minute clear from Puck Pietersal. I think, although they'll be happy with their podium, the other women will be scratching their heads thinking how they're going to be able to beat the Ineos Grenadier. And there we go, here's the results. Prévot, Puck Pietersal, Lill, Lecomte, Blanc, Stiga, Mittelvalner, Batten, Rizved and Keller rounding out your top 10. And here we go, our XCO standings. Hayley Batten with her 8th today, managed to keep her overall leader's jersey. And Alessandra Keller, Sevilla Blanc, Jenny Rizved, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, despite missing the first 2 rounds, now up to 5th. Candice Lill, great result up to 6th. A bit further back, Kate Courtney 11th. Laura Steiger, good race today up to 12th.